So a very warm welcome to Vienna, dear audience here on the screens.
Yeah, from my side also, hello. We are happy to welcome you and so many of you. So there is like you online and on site, there's also a bunch of people, and we are looking forward to work with you today. So we're coming together with the Global Fashioning Assembly, and thanks Srinka to introducing this huge and a great project of yours. We are here on site in Vienna in different roles at our different projects we are running at our department. So there is on the one side the research project called Neo-Faschfar that stands for neo-fascism and far-right fashion and how we can deconstruct it is our motto today. And the project is called Fashion and the Far Right, the New Complexity in Style. Additionally, we are also part of a project called Decolonizing Fashion, Textile Healing and Social Justice, which is part of a bigger and long-term project where we share knowledge and prepared some new education forms for the Institute, which is called Global Classroom, that brings together people from South Africa, students, design students, fashion design students from the University of Johannesburg, and our department, the Department of Fashion and Styles in Vienna at the Academy of Fine Arts. And my name is Sarah Held. I work here as a postdoc and I teach and research and I co-lead this far-right fashion project with Elke Gaugle, who is professor here. And I give you the floor.
Yes, hello also from my side. You can also see here we have some QR codes that we are running this global classroom. So the event is streamed twice through our audience via Zoom and also through our YouTube channel called The Global Classroom, where you can maybe also have a look later, because we are recording a lot of these events to host also a decolonizing format in the classroom. And we also hope that our partners from Johannesburg can join us today. Our today's topic are authoritarian and far-right looks and styles, which we will hack later in the workshop format that will be followed after this introduction. And here we have, in a way, our research project. We are researching these authoritarian styles since a while here mainly in the area of Germany and Austria. And we found this label here, you can see it here, that says, "We don't simply print clothing, we manufacture verbal weaponry."
So what is this workshop about? So we are today online and on site working on some hacking strategies. But before we hack fashion, then we have to localize in our different countries and communities, so where everybody's at, some strategies or some lookalikes. So how does authoritarian styles look like? And the next question is also, which is in your environment, your country, some sort of like oppressive system? Are there a parliamentary or like government oppression happening? How do they work? How do they perform sort of right-wing actions? And how do they look like? How do they dress? And which symbols do they use? How can we like sort of hack our do counter actions on a visual level, fashion-based and craft-based and design-based counter actions against these symbols, which stands for like groups who are usually it's not just like oppression, and it's also like the turn to the right almost all over the globe. How do this oppression look like, or this turn looks like in your community? So in Austria, we have a lot of, or like Elke said, a lot of different styles and looks, and an area where far-right fashion brands booming since the 90s. And we will get to it to show you something which is like on our side a huge problem. Then we go into a brainstorming session where you all go through your like handies and mobiles, or because you're not in the country, and started like think about which styles and looks are on on a daily basis, like surrounding you. And then we do a short breakout and so-called brainstorming session where everybody is like talking together. After this brainstorming session and thinking about and researching on different kinds of fascist symbols, or what fascism, authoritarian, and all these oppressive structures means in your community and sort of are on display. And then we have another sort of intro to introduce you to fashion hacking, which I guess is not that kind of common in your vocabulary or language. And this is also the purpose of what we are doing today. So to give you the chance to use activist tools in your very daily life on a fashion-based practice. And then we have like a working phase, which is for like almost 60 minutes. That means people on the street can form groups if they want to, and you guys on site can work here in the sewing workshop, but also like in room 211 to have enough space. And we are all available to help you, to guide you if you have questions. And then we have some sort of show and tell session later on. Yeah, that's basically the structure. Yeah, speaking of looks and styles and authoritarian structure, so we gathered in our research and our pre-research a lot of different styles, so that makes this phenomena so problematic. So the times have changed that you can recognize a fascist skinhead like on the street with their regular looks on, with a bomber jacket, a bald head, and some combat boots. So the styles are differ, but they are not just like being out of fashion. So that means all these looks and styles are very flourishing and coming in different ways to style themselves. So we brought you some pictures. On the left side you see a far-right rally, which was basically an international far-right gathering in Vienna in late July this year. And on the other side, you see the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. Maybe you heard of, because it went viral because someone died because of like car crashing the rally. And you can see here a very similar look and style. And these pictures range from 2017 to 24. And we have styles like khakis are very present. Khakis and sort of a very sleek and preppy look. You see another pair of khakis, and also these polo or like Fred Perry shirts are very common in right-wing clothing practices, but also are part of vestimentary practice by leftist subcultures. And you see this also getting very into some sort of normcore dressing, and it's simply very coded. And Elke will give you some insights to how can these codes be like hard to decode or to encrypt today.
So Charlottesville was really kind of the historic point where Robin Given from the New York, from the Washington Post, spoke about the weaponization of fashion. And there was a kind of appel before that Andrew Englin from the Daily Stormer really said that there is kind of dress code. So get dressed in a kind of new normal, get a high street fashion and go to the rally in high street fashion, so that people should look as normal as possible, as mainstream as possible. And this in 2017, it was kind of really anchor point of the weaponization and the changing point in the styles and appearances of the far right. So we also have some put together from our research, some styles. And this is a style from the AfD, Alternative Party for the Germany, the right-wing parliamentary party in Germany. And here you can see that it is kind of, yeah, in a way, sleek T-shirts, only with very small, small symbols. But if you look to the symbols, they say white boys summer. They say Stolzmonat, which is very hostile against queer and LGBTQI plus people. Or here there is this cute Dachshund, but it says jagen, chase them underneath. So it looks very sleek and very small symbols, but all in them very aggressive.
And this Dachshund refers to a speech by Gauland, which is a public figure in the AfD party, and he targets like we're gonna chase them, we're gonna hunt them down, which refers to refugees and people from the post-migrant society.
Next. Yes, and you can also see there is another label called Phalanx Europa, Phalanx Europe, and this is run by the identitarian movement from Austria first. Now it's also located in Germany, and here you can see what we said before in a little bit more placative sense, that it says Islam is not welcome. If you do not like it, pack your things, move, or yeah, this kind of remigration, go back to the south, which is also part of their rhetorics. It's also very interesting that this identitarian movement, which is very radical, right, also violent, is very much linked to the parliament. Also, there were at some point also parallels to the US. Maybe some of you know about Breitbart News, which is also far-right online news forum. They also produced merch, and in a way it was very similar in the wording. So there was also a big parallel internationally between this identitarian movement in Europe and the alt-right in the US in sense of the rhetorics.
Yeah, speaking of rhetoric, so as I mentioned, or as I opened, these styles have like different outcomes. So we see here like this boxing gloves and also like the shirt, which is called Reconquista Crew. This is a label called Will to Rise, which comes out of the relatively new organizing structure called Active Clubs. And it's really interesting how the transatlantic networks work, not just like on a right-wing networking ideology level, but on a political level, but also like on the production of styles and where do ideas come from and oscillating in between. So this is also part of this MMA, far-right MMA club society. And the active clubs were basically based on an idea which was born in Europe, and then they took it back to the US and started some decentralized leaderless development, which is also like a very common strategy from the neo-national socialism, like the original one. And so they clone it. And there was also like people or well-known figures like Patrick Schröder from Ansgar Arian jumping in and like publishing articles similar to the structure Elke mentioned earlier with the Unite the Right rally. So that means They publish in different right-wing media. So we have to organize ourselves. We have to build our own labels. We have to structure ourselves, and they are very entangled. Also, not just like in violent fight clubs, which like training for some right-wing doomsday called Day X. They are really into like turning down society. And the left one is a label from Cottbus, which is also like supplying fight clubs and a part of an organized crime. So there's a lot of shades how they are working related with fashion.
And here on the right side with this toxic masculinity, you can see how the labels themselves even work with the critique on this kind of masculinities. Indeed, these are toxic masculinities. But it's kind of very openly responding to that by showing this. On the next slide, we compiled we compiled some other styles from mainly from another supplier. And here on the left side, you can see that also this Ku Klux Klan aesthetics played a very important role also for the German far right from the beginning, I would say. This is a contemporary thing that is sold. Then there's this White Boys Summer, and you can see it in even this for babies. There is apparel. And also there was the mask that says Maulkorb Demokratie. That it's hard to translate it. But that the democracy does not allow to say you something.
Shut you down.
Yeah, shut you down. And there is always display with the swastika, because in Germany the swastika is forbidden. So it says HKNKRZ, which means Hakenkreuz, which is also and plays around with this rhetorics and symbolics.
Yeah, so but it's not just for the dudes or the toxic masculinity ones. They also serve like partner clothings, which aren't less sort of violent in their visuals and their design. So that means Adolf, which is Adolf Hitler, Eva Braun, his sort of whatever kind of person, and 88 is a code for HH, which stands for Heil Hitler. And then we have another like rip off of like a symbol from the Black community. I think I don't know if everybody is familiar with this a certain aesthetic. This is basically rooted in the logo of the hip hop crew Run DMC from the 80s, and this symbol got ripped off like in so many ways, and this stands for white power. And then we have also like very traditional or classic aesthetics, like in the first wave of the 90s, where you can have like female undies, which says the German Reich or Deutsches Reich, and some other like also historical references to some Polish sort of achievements by the Nazi on a shirt printed. So yeah, and it's very binary gendered. I don't have to mention that, emphasize that.
So in summary, and we come to our last slide, we have very different styles and ways of dealing with with aggression and violence, and the way of mobilizing violence in societies through symbols and through clothes, through the putting on of clothes, to get here to create identities, to create groups, but also to create action in a way of cultural and direct violence. And in summary, there is also an other layer of hate checking. Maybe you have heard about this, that brands are hate checked. This also exists for a long time. At present, it is here in our region, it is the North Face that is hacked in the sense of white supremacy. So you can see that on the one hand, far-right groups wear the North Face, they hijack the brand, and on the other side, they do a lot of kind of culture jamming and brand hacking with the logo. So there are T-shirts with the white race, the Iberian race, or also again the white race. So there is a lot of culture jamming and brand hacking going along with the North Face, as well as the North Face is worn also as a brand by far right groups. So this would be a kind of summary that what we mean with this, with the rise of authoritarian styles and the mass production of these shirts and apparels. And we are really wondering also what, you are now from different countries here around the globe, so to speak. What are styles in your country? Do you have the same styles, or what are your far right aesthetics or authoritarian aesthetics or racist aesthetics on dress? In your countries or in your village, in your city. And we would invite you now for about 10 minutes to do a little bit research on your computers.
Or your smartphones when you're on site.
Yeah. And we will take about 10 minutes, and then we will come back here to the audience and share a little bit of this, what we have researched up to now, and then we will proceed with the workshop and also proceed with explaining what we mean with hacking, or what we mean with the proper workshop, which we will do later than when we really get into action. But we would really like to invite you for 10 minutes to do a little bit research. We will continue then with the second part of the presentation, and then we will create groups and breakout rooms.
Hacking. What is fashion hacking? The term goes back to Otto von Busch, which is a scholar in fashion studies, and so it got also used and reframed by other people. This is like hacking is also a huge strategy here at the Academy of Fine Arts in our teaching at the Fashion of Style department. So it means how to self-express your self and present political statements on shirts, on different sorts of clothing, but it's not like limited to shirts or like also change the message of something like we see here, a very Christian community, which is sort of Orthodox, and they have like these caps which were produced in a workshop by Daniel Drake in Canada by members of like the LGBTQIA community, and also indigenous people were taking part of it, and they hacked this message push, which stands for pray until something happens, which is also like a very empty phrase, like push out homophobia. So this is like a very good example to hack a message on a shirt or cap or whatever. But it also means you can work with shapes and like the like clothings, and you can also work with messages from inside and outside, put on clothes, which targets like a counter knowledge, a counter strategy, a counter position to like the authoritarian, fascist, right-wing, whatever is oppressing you in your community and society. And it's also like a very good tool to create agency, which means to be in sort of charge and like a self empowerment, also like empower others. This is also like a very important part of agency creating. It's not just like doing it for you, but also to shape communities, to build communities, to communicate with communities. Because like nowadays, where we're facing a shift to the far right almost globally, a shirt can be a very strong message, and it's also like part of the history of the motto shirt. On the other hand, we are also like you expose yourself, so be careful. What do you wear outside, and in which areas that can be also threatening. But it's also like a good tool to position yourself in your own like political beliefs or form them. And so we brought you another example from Vienna. So this project is called The Code, der Mantel. And it's a project started by fashion designer Ferrari Zöchling and literature author and yeah, performance artist Lydia Haider. And it's also like sort of neighboring or early project of a project you on site maybe know called Burschenschaft Hysteria, which means frat hysteria, which was a female mock-up version of like frats, which are also like a very huge part of the right-wing socialization and community in Austria. And so they made this code on purposes, like which style did like SS and Hugo Boss use to create the uniforms, and they made it out of a leather material, which is very like sensitive and reacts to like using, and it changes. So the code is getting more torn down over the years. But in the inside, there is a message to fascists or a statement, which is just like looks like the same at the very day it was produced. So they work also with like aging structures. And there is another example for fashion hacking also coming out of some artist practice. It's called Hools of Fashion. It's a project which collaborates between Kampnagel, which is one of the queer performance spaces in the German-speaking area, and leads with migrant politics and like post-migrant art productions together. And we see here a turtleneck, a tight turtleneck, which printed anti-fascist on it, and they also play with symbols of high fashion brands. So we see like a mock-up of the Chanel logo here. And on the other hand, this was a belt and a complete look designed by the project to make an anti-racist statement at the Berlinale this year. So you can see there is like high fashion hacks, including like the topic of far right and developments, and also like some sort of community works, which is like displayed on the cap we just saw. And also like an important thing to the code is it has like a huge label in the back, and every wearer who is like yeah, wearing the code to display their political statements embroider their name in the back. And it's like just called the like sort of anti-fascist trophy that goes from person to person. And this is also like a nice idea to host a project in that way, that it's not just like owned by one person, but it's going through communities. And now it's part of our research project as well. Yeah.
So what else can fashion hacking be? Or we have here, it's a brand that was hate-checked in the 90s and 2000, Lonsdale, that was hate-checked by the neo-Nazi groups because of its NSDA. That was hate-checked as the Nazi party. And Lonsdale was, as a brand, they positioned themselves and said, okay, we do not want to deliver the Nazis anymore, our brands or our stock. And they created also a new collection, because in a way, also this hate checking causes new ethical questions for the fashion industry, course, a lot of brands are hate-checked, and they developed, for example, these T-shirts, Lansdale against racism and hate. So for us, it's also kind of counter strategy of a big brand to deal with this hate checking.
Yeah, and like to mention something, when you wore your Lansdale shirt in the 90s, so there was just like Elke mentioned, this NSD visible, and so they used it to citate the like NSDAP, and also pretty important is that these strategies, so we see a lot of, or we found a lot of hate checked like mass brands or suppliers. And for us, it's important to see how they react to being appropriated by the far right. And so Lonsdale is one of the best examples for like position themselves, and also not just like with a statement online and producing counter narratives on their shirt. So that makes it also a hack.
Yeah, and then there is also this image that we put into our slideshow on counter strategies that are part of our workshop. This is a shop from Thor Steiner, which is a far right brand. So it's also very important to know that there has been a lot of resistance against these shops also in the public space. So this when they try to open stores, yeah,
they got beautified,
yeah,
from a left-wing position,
or even before that they tried to even to avoid that by legal courses that they can rent these shops. So there was really also very hard resistance against this. That's why we also had this put this image in here from the Torsteiner shop. So this is quite a small amount, I would say, of hacking strategies, but also with dealing with these brutal symbols and in a way to transform them into solidarity, into anti-racist, anti-suprematist solidarity in the sense of social and also global justice. It's only a bunch, but we would like that it gets more, that it grows. And that's why we wanted to invite you now to our workshop part.
So that means
we come to the Padlet part. We have installed a Padlet so that everybody can upload their material on the
so there is like the default Padlet which shows you how to fill it in during the workshop based on your like research and what you saw online on the screen. Please start to work with the materials provided to think about it. And in the end, this Padlet will be your sort of display hosting framework.
Hello, back again. We would like to invite you now to come together and to share your impressions and thoughts and images and materials you have gathered.
Hello, thank you, Elke. Yes, I do a lot of crochet. I also upcycle and reuse materials. Sometimes I even find it on the street. Sometimes it's from clothes swaps and I upcycle it. Or sometimes I buy the materials from local stores, but I also thrift a lot. And in my thrifting, I came across a lot of Trachten, traditional Austrian clothing elements. And I use the Edelweiss, which is the national flower of Austria, and which is often used in Tracht. I use it in my practice, and I aim to use it in a different context, because Tracht is often used by more right-wing oriented people in Austria. And for example, I have POC friends. They are also born in Austria and grew up here, but they say, I don't dare to wear Tracht because I fear that I might be attacked, for example, by certain people. So I aim to use the Edelweiss, the symbol, in a different context. I combine it with my other pieces I crochet or upcycled, and these pieces also have more references to queer culture and punk. So when I wear the Edelweiss in this context, for me, it feels like I reappropriate the symbol.
Yeah, thank you very much, Nina. That's really
Such
cool.
a nice example, and also like to reappropriate symbols is very interesting. Thank you for your
I
contribution.
just uploaded a few photos I have so that you can see my different items I thrifted. I, for example, have this necklace with the Edelweiss, which is also a Trachten necklace. Yeah, two different ones actually. Then I also found a ring. And yeah, I just had these photos and I wanted to show it.
Yeah, thank you. We wanted also to encourage others from the audience.
Hi there, yeah, I'm Aaron. So I am joining from Ireland.
Cool. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, how are you? I'm just finding it very, very interesting. So I haven't, and it's like food for thought. So I haven't done any research of my own, but like there's obviously various things. Just actually, Nina, I was going to type there that was very thought-provoking for me, because there is a kind of like a growing right-wing kind of fascist, racist kind of elements here. And actually, one thing that I've noticed, and I can't speak for everybody obviously, but one thing that I've noticed, it's not something I've kind of identified as such. Like, it's making me think a lot about this, and I'm finding it very interesting. And particularly, Nina, when you were speaking about the traditional the Tracht, because there's obviously or I don't know if you've heard, but this element is kind of growing in Ireland also, and there's been a lot of protests, like anti-immigration protests, and it is the kind of like national kind of element is being brought to the fore. So actually in Ireland, the flag, like the Irish flag, has connotations, you know, and it was previously, I suppose, historically with the kind of the IRA, the Irish Republican Army, you know, with the troubles up the north and everything, and now it's become part of the far right kind of representation. And I work in costume and I work in sustainable textiles here. So I work in the Rediscovery Centre, which is the National Centre for the Circular Economy, and I run a kind of textiles social enterprise there. But I also have a background in costume design, and I was working this year on a kind of legacy contemporary dance project that was kind of trying to respond to the last 100 years of Irish history, basically. And kind of in my research for that, I really kind of came against this like, oh, that doesn't feel like that's my flag actually, or like that's that I can use that, like, or that I want to use it because of what it's associated with. And I think that's really kind of sad, you know. So definitely through that project there was a bit of kind of reclaiming going on of the flags. So I think that's really, I guess it's a really important stance in terms of hacking, or like not allowing something to be only representative of one faction of society. So Nina, I think that's great what you're doing with the flower.
Thanks for sharing this.
Yeah, Nina raised her hand.
Thank you so much. For me, it is also a bit like you said, that I don't feel, or how should I say it? I find it a bit sad that this traditional clothing, for example, is used so much by more right-wing oriented people, that other people, like my POC friend, who's also Austrian, she cannot really, or she doesn't dare to wear it, for example. And I was a bit shy in the beginning, but what I noticed, so I didn't share it before, but what I noticed, So we had elections recently in Austria, and there were debates on the TV, and the right-wing candidates were, for example, wearing this brooch, and it was like this Austrian flag brooch. And the other candidates from the other parties didn't really have it, so that's also something I noticed. And I personally don't really want that my country or my flag or these traditional symbols, or for example the edelweiss, which is basically a flower in the end, is only used in this context. So I try to hack that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And also the thing just from your presentation earlier was the, you know, like the difference between the toxic male, like that kind of, they're not afraid to wear that, whereas if you were wearing something that was like expressing the opposite, I would feel, you know, it would, you would be making yourself quite vulnerable in a way, or, and that's not right, you know. It's just an observation.
Okay. Yeah, we thought that we will close the online session, but we would like to stay, of course, in touch with you. So here in Vienna, still there's a group working here at our institute, and I think it will last for quite a while. But we will upload the things later, so you all have the link to the Padlet. Will be our exhibition. And Erin, if you would like to stay in touch, just send us an email and we keep you posted on the activities. Yeah.
And we like to show you another slide where you can see the our contacts, also our socials, where you can find us. So if you're interested, follow us on Instagram or wherever you want to, also on TikTok. Yeah.
And yeah, thanks for being part of the GFA.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Ciao.